All right.
All right, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Championship Rounds podcast. Today we're joining everyone except for usual to get each other. God knows what, but everyone's here today. We got Jake, got Mike, we got myself and Nick. So it's going to be a big card coming up. So it's going to be an interesting talk for sure. Lots of very exciting fights on this one. So let's just jump right into the early prelims. We'll give you our predictions and odds and see how it goes. So first we got Martin Day, who's taking on Davey Grant. Martin Day's the negative 190 favorite, and Davey Grant's at plus 160. I'll go to Jake to see his thoughts on this fight.
All right, so Day is 8-3, and Grant is 11-4. Day is 0-1 in the UFC, and this is Grant's first fight in the UFC, and he won his last fight by split decision. I got Day winning by decision for this one.
All right, Mike, who you got?
I got Grant with second round submission since he has 8 submissions. So I know Day has a bunch too, but I think since Grant, since Day has already lost in the UFC, I think Grant's gonna take this one.
Do you have a certain submission in mind?
I don't know, man. Maybe probably just a rear naked.
All right, who you got, Nick?
I got Martin Day by second round knockout.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Day for decision myself. Moving on, we got Carl Rosa versus Vanessa Melo. Rosa's the negative 220 favorite, so a pretty big favorite. Melo's at plus 180. We'll go to Mike first this time.
A lot of women fights, especially on the prelims, go all 3 rounds. That's been a pretty, common trend throughout the UFC. I'm gonna say Rosa via they're done to all 3 rounds. But yeah.
Nick, what do you got?
I also got Rosa by decision. I think it'll be a slow fight probably, but I got her winning.
What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I got Rosa by decision. She's 1-0 in the UFC. She won her last fight by split decision, and Melo, she's 0-2 in the UFC. So I think Rosa's going to take it by decision. I don't see anything really exciting happening.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. It's a women's fight. Some really good women fighters out there, but usually not too many finishes. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Rosa for unanimous decision as well. Next fight, pardon my pronunciation of these fighters, but we got Raulian Paiva versus, this one's brutal. This is Zalgas Zumagulov. Sorry for butchering that name, but
yeah.
So we got Paiva with the neg 195 favorite. Go ahead, Jake.
So Paiv, 19-3 record. Zumagulov is 13-3. Paiva is 1-2 in the UFC. Got a last fight victory by TKO in Zumagulov. This is his first fight in the UFC. I got Paiva by TKO in the first round.
What about you, Nick?
I'm actually going with the newcomer here. I'm going Zumagulov by decision. He's 4 inches shorter. He's got 4 inches less on the reach, but I just think, I don't know, I'm just picking him because I feel like everyone's going to pick against him, so I'm just going to pick him because off of that.
Change it up a little.
Yeah.
Why not?
What do you think, Mike?
I said Paiva by winning. He's not going to win all 3 rounds, but it's going to go all 3 rounds. I don't think we've ever watched Zalgas fight. I know we watched Paiva fight, and he's actually pretty good. I don't know where he was before UFC, but yeah, I'm going to say Paiva by a decision.
All right, and I'm going to go with Zumagulov. I mean, he is from Kazakhstan. They breed absolute killers. So, I mean, that's already in his favor already. So, I think it's going to be definitely see how he goes in his first fight, but I think he might be able to pull it off with a decision. All right, next we got a heavyweight bout, I believe. We got Marcin Tybura versus Alexandra Romanov. They're both neg 110 favorites, so really 50-50 fight here. I'll go with Nick first.
I got This one was kind of close for me, but I got Tybura by first round knockout. I mean, it's a heavyweight fight, so I personally think it'll either be a slow decision, something like to that effect, or an early knockout. So I'm going Tybura by first round knockout.
What about you, Mike?
I said Romanov by third round KO. If I remember, he has a bunch of KOs.
I think they
Um,
switched opponents.
Let me see.
I
Oh,
think
he has
you're right
5
here.
KOs, 6 submissions, but yeah, I went with Romanov third round KO.
Brett, what about you, Jake?
I got Tybura by decision. That's not much to add to it. I mean, it was a close fight, but I think Tybura. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a slow fight. I don't think it's gonna be a great heavyweight fight, but
Is this
it's a heavyweight.
Romanov's first fight in the UFC? I think it is. Anyways, he's 11-0, so I think and he looks pretty shredded for a heavyweight. So I'm gonna go with Alexander with a second round knockout. I know Marcin Tybura is a really good fighter, but I think he's coming off a couple losses recently, so I'm gonna go with yeah. So next fight we got Leonardo Santos versus Roman Bogdanov. Another pretty close fight. Santos is -190 favorite, and Bogdanov's at +160. So I'll go to Jake first on this one.
All right, so Santos is 6-0-1 in the UFC, and Bogotov is 10-0 in his career. This is his first UFC fight. He won his last fight by TKO, but I think the experience is huge here in the UFC. I mean, fighting in the UFC is different than fighting anywhere else. I think Santos is going to take it by first round TKO.
All right, what about you, Nick?
I personally got Bogotov by second round submission. I'm pretty sure out of his 10 career victories, he has 6 submissions. So I think he'll take him to the ground. He's Russian. I think he'll get a second round submission.
All right, what do you think, Mike?
I have Santos by second round submission. Both of them are really good at submissions. Santos has never lost via submission, only by KO and decision. So I'm gonna go second round submission for Santos. He is actually he is 40 years old, so he's kind of old, but
Ooh, he is.
you never know.
Okay. Roman's 29. But yeah, on the stats, it says he's 6 feet versus a 5'11" Bogotov. So I don't know how accurate that is, but
It's
he
just
has
Bogotov's 5'7" on a regular.
yeah, if he has a
Super.
5-inch height advantage, that's pretty insane. So I might have to go with Santos here by decision. All right. Next up, we got Quan versus Danny Henry. Henry's the underdog at +165, and Makwan's at -195. So I'll go to Nick first for this one.
This one was close for me to call. I mean, even if you look at the odds, they're very close. But I went with Danny Henry by decision. I think it'll be a close fight, though.
Right, what do you think, Mike?
I said Makwan by second round submission. I know Danny Henry's lost before via submission. And Makwan has 10 submissions. So I think Makwan's gonna take this one.
What about you, Jake?
I got a Makani by decision. He's 5-2 in the UFC. He did lose his last fight by TKO to Shane Burgos, and Henry's 2-1 in the UFC, but he lost his last fight by submission to Dan Ige. So I don't know though. This was a really close fight, but I just think Makani's gonna get it done.
All right. So I'm gonna go with Makwan as well, but I'm actually gonna go with knockout. I know he has a lot of submissions, but he does hold an 8-second knockout in the first round. So I think he could possibly get another showstopper here and put on a highlight reel. So I'm gonna go with Quan with a first round knockout. Next we got Dos Santos versus Muslim Salikov. They're both favorites in this fight. Dos Santos is at -105 and Salikov's at -115. So I'll go with Mike first for this one.
You say me?
Yeah.
I said Santos by second round KO since he has 14 KOs in his name. So yeah, I want Santos.
All right, what about you, Jake?
I got Slikov by decision. I don't know. I got a feeling for that one. These are really close fights, but he's doing good. He's definitely newer to the UFC. He's 3-1. Dos Santos is 8-2 in the UFC. They're both great, records, but I don't know. I think Slikov's gonna get it done by decision.
Or what do you think, Nick?
I get Slikov actually by first round knockout. He's never been knocked out before in his career. The only 2 times he's lost was via submission. So I think honestly they'll stand there and just trade, and I think he'll catch him Santos with something and pull it out in the first round.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Slikov as well. I'm gonna go with a second round TKO. All right, next on our card, we have our final fight on the early prelims. We have Volkan Ozdemir versus Jiri Prochazka. Ozdemir is a -165 favorite in this one. What do you think, Nick?
I got Volkan by second round knockout. I mean, he has 12 knockouts to his name. I mean, he lost to Dom Reyes, Anthony Smith, and DC. But he does have a knockout victory against Ilia Latifi, so it's kind of like he's on a 2-fight win streak, and I personally believe that he continues that and wins by second round knockout.
All right, what do you think, Jake?
I got Ozdemir by decision. I just think, he's fought a lot of big names, and the people he's lost to are legit contenders. I mean, Dom Reyes just came off of a title fight against John Jones. Daniel Cormier is Daniel Cormier. I mean, he's one of the best, I think Ozdemir gets it done by decision. This is Prochazka's first UFC fight, so he's pretty new to the game. I mean, this is huge if he can get this win. That's a huge entry into the UFC, get your name out there. But I don't know. I think Ozdemir will get it done by decision.
All right, what do you think, Mike?
I think it's going to be a slugfest. Both of them had a lot of knockouts. I said it's going to go for Volkan by it's going to go all 3 rounds. But it could be a knockout, could just like equal each other out. But I think Volkan by decision.
All right, I'm actually gonna go with the new fighter here. I'm gonna go with Jiri Prochazka. He's coming over from Ryzen. He's on a 10-fight win streak. Obviously, the competition at Ryzen isn't as strong as the UFC, but he does have a lot of knockouts, a lot of finishes. Anything can happen, especially at light heavyweight when people are slugging it out. So I think he might be able to catch him and put no time to sleep and get the W. So I'm gonna say a second round knockout. All right, moving on to our main card. Finally, the good stuff's coming up. We got our first fight. We got Amanda Ribas, who's a -800 favorite versus Paige Pazan. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised, but everyone likes Paige, so it is a huge difference in the odds there. She's at +550. So definitely not a good fight to bet on unless you're expecting an upset, that is. So I'll go Jake first with this one.
Easy. I mean, Rivas by decision. She's 3-0 in the UFC. She's beat Mackenzie Dern and I also believe Rona Marcos. Paige Van Zant's no slouch, but her last fight was over a year ago at this point. She beat Rachel Ostovich, but her arm has been giving her a lot of problems and she's had multiple surgeries. But I don't know how you can bet against Rivas for this one. You know, it is what it is. I mean, Paige is great, but yeah, Rivas gets it done by decision.
What do you think, Mike?
I said the same thing. Of course, I'm biased because I like Rivas, but I think Rivas takes it. I think she's really, really good. I think Paige Van Zant, coming off that forearm injury, which is also, did she lose her last fight, or was her? Yeah, her last fight was a while 2019 versus Rachel Ostovich. That's still a while ago. I think Rivas takes this.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think Rivas takes it by a pretty dominant decision. I think she could potentially win all 3 rounds, but I definitely see her. I don't really. I mean, there's obviously a chance Van Zant wins, but I don't really see that there being a high percentage of that happening. So I got Rivas by decision.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously have to pick Rivas here as well, but I think she actually will be able to get a finish. She kind of pretty much out grappled Mackenzie Dern, who's a multiple time world champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I think someone who doesn't have as good as a ground game as Mackenzie Dern has, I think Paige Van Zant might succumb to either punches or a submission. So I think maybe a second or third TKO, third round TKO probably by Rivas. I just don't know how motivated Paige is. She has tons of outside opportunities besides fighting that she does. She's making bank outside the UFC. So I just don't know how focused she is. I mean, I'm sure she's taking this fight, so I don't want to question her mentality, but she doesn't have to fight is what I'm saying. So it's really bold of her to get in here and take on a really hot and upcomer in Rivas. But anyway, we're going to move on.
To a submission, actually.
Submission, what round?
Second
Round submission. All right.
What kind of
on.
What?
What kind of submission?
I forgot what she submitted. Hold on a second. Has she only won by decisions in the UFC or no? Oh, she has.
She's got one sub.
I
She's
think
not a
it's either
submission
gonna.
specialist, but she's a good wrestler.
I think it's gonna just be a rear naked or a Kimura.
Kimura.
Yeah,
that's a Kimura's a
that's bold. All right, I respect it.
All right, moving on to our second women's fight on this card. We got the rematch, the much anticipated rematch between Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas. Rose is the favorite, even though she lost the last fight. She's at -195, and Jessica's at +165. So I'm gonna go again to Jake for this one. See your thoughts on it.
I got Thug Rose. By decision. Thug Rose. All right, she was winning the last fight. She got dumped on her head. Everyone thought she broke her neck. Andrade's a bulldozer. You know, she's really small, but she's really strong and powerful. But, you know, we saw her defend her belt against Weili Zhang, and how'd that go? She got TKO'd in about 20 seconds, so she's legit. I think Namajunas wins this with no problem. I think the last fight was a fluke, and I don't think that's going to happen this time. I think Thug Rose by decision.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I got Rose Namajunas by decision as well. I think it'll be a good fight, though. Definitely a competitive fight. She'll probably win 3 rounds or so. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. She could dominate, but I think it goes all 3 rounds and she wins.
What about you, Mike?
I think Rose by second round TKO. She was piecing up Andrade because Andrade is booty cheeks. So I think Rose gets her by second round TKO.
My take on this one's a little, I don't know. I can't decide. I don't really like Rose as a fighter just because she beat Joanna twice, which just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I think
bias.
Yeah, it's definitely a biased opinion. But Rose, I mean, she definitely worked on her takedown defense 100%. That's the only chance Andrade has in this fight is doing the same thing she did last time, either slamming her and knocking her out or just taking her down and sitting on her the entire fight. So Rose definitely, I'm pretty sure probably just trained takedown defense almost the entire camp because her striking is far, far superior. So, I mean, I really want to say Jessica will win this fight, but I just don't see it happening whatsoever. So I'm gonna have to go with Rose with a probably a decision. It's only a 3-round fight. I think Andrade's chin should be able to hold up for 3 rounds.
Yeah, I bet you this time Rose she learned real quick to let go of the submission attempt, I mean, she could have won that fight if she let go.
Yeah, I remember we literally
Changed the
thought
whole
she
fight.
died.
Yeah,
I thought she was dead.
Yeah,
The cameras cut away. The cameras cut away. We literally thought she was dead.
Yeah,
it was pretty shocking, actually.
Yeah, she dumped her right on the top of her head. That was scary.
Yeah. So as long as Rose doesn't, do that again, she should be able to win this one. But anyways, we're going to our co-main event, the 3rd title fight on this card. It's a bantamweight title fight between Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo, or Jose if you want to be completely correct about it. But Peter Yan's the -230 favorite versus +190 for Aldo. So I'll go with Nick for this one.
This was a fight, I mean, like the 2 that are coming up after this, that was extremely tough for me to call, especially because Yan has no experience in title fights, and Aldo, that's all he did for about a 10-year stretch. So it's kind of like, even though Aldo is older, I think he's 33 or 34 at this point, he still has the experience if it goes into the later rounds. But I am picking Yan by 4th round KO. This is extremely tough. I could see Aldo catching him late also, but I just think Yan edges him out, and I don't know. I feel like Aldo has the experience, but I don't know if he has what it takes anymore to win a fight like this. But I mean, we'll have to see. But I get Yan by 4th round knockout.
All right, Mike, what do you think?
I'm kind of biased because I like Yan a lot. I think he has iron hands. He's iron for hands. I think he wins by 3rd round KO. This is a close fight because Aldo's amazing. He has the experience being in those later rounds. Yan, I mean, he hasn't really fought like that many, outstanding people. But I think he wins.
You mean any outstanding people?
What? 0 outstanding.
Yeah, you mean he hasn't fought any outstanding people?
No, I know.
Continue.
I think he wins by 3rd round KO though. Jose's probably gonna win though, but I think Peter.
All right, Jake, what do you think?
Jake's pissed.
Yan has no business being in this match. All right, this is
pissed.
Ooh, hot take.
Tell me who he's fought. He's gone to a decision with John Dodson. He's gone to a decision with Jimmy Rivera. Okay, and you knocked out Uriah Faber.
God.
50.
Best fight of the UFC.
Congratulations.
Number 1 power rankings.
I should be getting this title fight. I mean, are you kidding me?
Whoa.
All right, Jake, you hit the gym for a couple months, all right? You're not. I don't know about if you're ready for the UFC yet.
But I mean, let's be real here. You're really going to get a title fight, a vacant title fight. You're going to jump the line over the guys such as Aljamain Sterling, who've been fighting in this division forever, to get a title fight, and that's who you beat? Really? This is what we're doing now? I mean, you want to talk about handpicked? Unbelievable. And I mean, Aldo's a legend, all right? Him and Max, that's a really tough one to call. I mean, yeah, Max beat Aldo, but they're right there for the best featherweights of all time. I mean, I know Aldo's not, he's clean now. He's off the peds and stuff like he used to be on when he was on his dominant tear.
Allegedly, Jake.
Allegedly. You're right. Allegedly. But, it makes sense for Yan to win. He's the younger fighter. You're supposed to pass it on to the younger generation, build it up for the new division. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Aldo's going to win this by 4th round TKO. I think he's got, like Nick said, he's been fighting title fights forever, He knows how to go 5 rounds. He's got the gas tank for it. He won his last fight against Moraes. The judges, I don't know what the judges were looking at. They said it was a split, but I think Aldo won that. And I don't know. I think Aldo's going to get this one done. I just don't think Yan is ready. I think Aldo wins by 4th round TKO. That's my spiel.
You made some very good points. Mike's prediction, the knockout. I mean, Aldo's only been knocked out cold one time in his career versus Conor McGregor. So it's a very bold prediction if you think Peter Yan has the same type of power McGregor does. But anyways, that's how your argument's flawed, Mike. But I mean, I agree with the championship fight. Peter Yan, we never seen him. We never seen his cardio. We don't know how he's gonna look in 5 rounds. Aldo's been there, proven every single time. His cardio can definitely last up there. He's fighting that bantamweight though. He looked really good in his last fight at bantamweight versus Moraes, like Jake said. So I don't think the weight cut should be too big of a factor. He's looking very lean, very good. So I don't think he should have any problems. I think we're gonna see Aldo back at champion again. We'll see a Brazilian fighter being a champion again. So should be a good thing for the UFC and everyone involved. I'm surprised Peter's getting such a push, but even if Aldo wins though, I think Aljamain's the true champion of that division. I think he's coming for that belt, and he might hold it for a really long time. I think this is just going to be who's holding it until then. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go with Aldo. I think he can get it done a third round TKO if he uses those brutal leg kicks of his.
I also just want to say before we move on, if you watch that last fight with Moraes, watch Moraes slow down in that 3rd round and watch Aldo take over those later rounds. That shows you right there that he can last all 5 and he can fight just as good in the 4th and 5th than he could in the first 2 or 3.
Yeah, 100%. So going on to our co-main, which was going to be our main, but now it's back to our co-main. We have Alexander Volkanovski, the rematch, versus Max Holloway. Volkanovski is the -220 favorite. Pretty big favorite considering how long Max was champion for. But Max is at +180. Yeah, and how close the first fight really was, to be honest.
Disrespectful.
He's a pretty big favorite. So I'll go with Jake first for this one.
I think you're going to get a part 2 of what you saw in the first fight. I mean, I don't know how that. Like I said, that's just disrespectful. They're giving those odds to Volkanovski. All due respect, the guy's a great fighter. He earned that title shot. That was a great fight, a really close fight. You know, and every time you watch it, you could say, "Oh, Max won" or "Volky won." I don't know. I mean, I thought Volky edged him a little, but I don't think lightning's going to strike twice. I think Max is coming back and he's going to take his belt back. And I think we're going to get the same type of fight we got. It's going to be a 5-round slugfest, and Holloway's going to walk away by decision with the belt.
All right, Mike, what do you think?
I think Max, it's going to go all 5 rounds to be a slugfest, but I think Max takes it, hopefully. If he can defend himself from Volkanovski's hits.
All right, Nick, what do you think?
I think the same thing. I got Holloway by decision. I mean, it's definitely going to be an extremely close fight again, but I don't see him losing 2 straight times versus Volkanovski. But, I mean, he did say he's been training over Zoom this whole time. But I don't know if I 100% believe that. But at the same time, he knows what he's doing, so I have confidence that he's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I agree. The Zoom thing I heard Max mention was a little odd. I don't know how factual it is, but yeah, he said he wasn't sparring, doing everything over Zoom, which could be, bad news, but a red flag. But we'll see when he gets in there. But yeah, I was surprised you guys all picked Holloway. I thought I was going to be the only fanboy here. But yeah, the best is blessed, baby. So I'm going to have to go with Max Holloway, even if it's a biased opinion. But I think, that first fight taught him a lot. He knows what he can work on. He knows what he has to look for within Alexander. So, it's like Max always says this, how it's one thing being the champion, and it's another being the competitor fight for the belt. You get comfortable up there being champion. So now that he's back to being the challenger, I think he's going to be remotivated and come back with a fury. So I think he'll get it done. 5-round slugfest, like you guys said, in a decision.
Also, if people, whoever watches this, if you want to bet a fight and bet an underdog, this is your fight. The fact that Volkanovski's what is he, 220?
Yeah.
That's crazy. This fight should be a lot closer than that. So if you want to bet, I mean, it's a close fight, but there's a good shot that Max can pull this off, and you could definitely get a good buck out of this.
Yeah, I agree with all three of the title fights. The underdog has a real good shot of winning. So if you guys do want to bet, definitely the underdogs on all three of those title fights. You could make some decent money there. But anyways, moving on to our final title fight. Big head everyone's about. Jorge Masvidal steps in on a week notice to face on the champ Kamaru Usman. Masvidal's the plus 240 underdog, and Usman's a neg 300 favorite, which is reasonable. Masvidal, great fighter, but a week notice, flying to Abu Dhabi. Who knows how much he's been training? You never know. But so I think those odds are pretty fair. But definitely Masvidal could catch him with anything. It's completely up for grabs. But anyways, I'll go Nick first for this fight.
This fight, I mean, I might be in the minority for this opinion, but I think with Burns having to pull out and Masvidal going in, for me personally, even with Masvidal on a week's notice, this fight became harder for me to pick. Because, I mean, I definitely think Burns is good and he could give Usman a good fight, but I just thought that Usman was going to win that fight, and I didn't really have to put too much thought into that. But this fight, the thing that I think Masvidal has a good chance in the first 2 rounds if he could easily catch Usman with something. But I think if the fight gets beyond that point, I think Usman wins and cruises to a decision win. I think Usman wins like the last 3 rounds, just like doing ground and pound, just taking him down, kind of tiring Masvidal out. So I have Usman by decision. But if you gave them both a full camp, then I honestly don't know who I'd pick. So if we see a rematch, I might go Masvidal. But in this fight, I have Usman.
All right. Mike, what do you got?
This is a tough fight because we don't really know how long Jorge's been training for. Like Marty said, that it's a win-win for Jorge anyway. So I mean, if he wins, then yeah, he won the belt. And if he loses, he's still pretty much showed that like he'll be able to fight and he'll want to go and fight for a belt even on a week's notice. There's a lot at stake for Kamaru here. If Jorge loses, I wouldn't really think it hurts his like hype train, but it'll definitely be like, oh, okay, like he lost. If he loses badly, then like it might hurt him a bit. But if it's a close fight, then like I think it actually helps him a lot. I said Kamaru by decision anyways. I just think if Jorge didn't have enough time to prepare, then it's going to be Kamaru by decision. He's just going to ragdoll him the entire time and just sit on him. But also, like we saw from the Covington fight, Kamaru can stand up. So it could be a slugfest. We all know that Jorge can throw. So I say it's either Kamaru by decision or Jorge by like early KO.
All right, Jake, what do you think?
It's just it's amazing. Just switching one fighter brings an event from here to here that quick, even on a week's notice. I mean, they just resurrected Street Jesus, and now he's going to go pass out, a baptism. I don't know. Is he going to give him a 3-piece in Minnesota? I don't know. My heart, do I want to see that? No question. I want to get rid of Usman. Usman's a great fighter. Man's one of the best all-around fighters you got in the UFC. He can wrestle. He can stand. He can do it all. The guy's got a gas tank. The guy can do everything. The thing is, though, if you watch him against Colby, I don't know if Colby underestimated him or if he got too cocky or what, but Usman switched to the body shots and it was eating Colby alive. Also, he broke his jaw, which didn't help. But Colby, I don't know, he just approached the wrong way. See, the way Jorge fights, he's got a weird approach to it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't know what you're going to get out of this fight. My heart wants to say Masvidal, and if Masvidal wins, that'll be amazing. I mean, that'll be one of the best 2-year stretches a fighter's ever had. You go from losing to like Damian Maia, who's a great fighter, but then you go to knocking out Darren Till in his hometown, who's only lost to prime Tyron Woodley, to knocking out Ben Askren for the fastest knockout ever for his first loss, to not knocking out, but beating Nate Diaz for the BMF belt, to this, and he wins, that would be insane. That would be star status right away. I mean, he's already a hype train, but that would cement it. But
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. My heart wants Masvidal, but I'm gonna go with the smart choice here. I'm gonna say Usman by decision. I don't know, and also we don't know what we're gonna get out of Usman. He could wrestle them all 5, but people don't give him enough credit for his stand-up. So who knows? It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting.
To be fair, I think we all kind of wanted to see how Jorge would fare against a wrestler like Ben Askren, but we weren't able to see that since he killed him in the first 2 seconds.
1 year anniversary of Ben Askren's death.
I know. So like, I'm kind of worried that like he won't be able to do well against a very good wrestler like Kamaru or Ben Askren. So I think we have to see what happens because he could get dominated the entire fight.
You just don't know how he's going to come up. He fights differently for every fight, or since he's won, I should say. He's going about it totally like in a different way. I don't know. There's just some did anyone expect him to come out of the gate against Askren like that? No, but he did train for that. There is video of it, and I don't know. You don't know what you're going to get.
I think he's probably gonna come out like mad, goofy, and confident, just like, yeah, that's right, boys. Like I took it on a week's notice and have the title fight right now. He'd be like mad, confident, and goofy, I think.
But he could be doing that to try to throw Usman off.
No, exactly,
just to mess up the rhythm a little bit. Again, with Usman, you got to pick your shots. You can't just go in the pocket and you can't just swing randomly. You saw that with Colby because there was a lot of bad blood, and it was a great fight. Don't get me wrong. That was awesome. But if you want to beat that guy, you can't do that. You got to pick your shots.
Yeah, I totally agree with what all you guys said. You guys all have very valid points on this one. It's going to be a really, it's going to go either one or the other way. It's classic wrestler versus striker. I mean, yes, Usman has really good striking. He has very consistent pressuring striking, but he just doesn't have the power to knock out Jorge, at least in the first couple rounds where Jorge still has stamina and isn't gassed. Because Jorge has like 46 fights. He's only been stopped once. It was a doctor stoppage. Wasn't even his own will. His countless backyard fights. So I mean, he's not getting knocked out. So the only way Usman really wins if he's doing that ground and pound. We saw Damian Maia take Masvidal's back for basically 3 rounds straight and just out grapple him. So it's a really concerning thing for Masvidal fans. He could easily just get Khabib's and sat on all 5 rounds and get ground and pounded. But either way, it's a win-win for Masvidal. I mean, at first this was supposed to be the original fight, but he didn't take it because of money. And now he took the fight on 5 days' notice. You can bet he's making absolute bank off this fight. So either way, he's getting paid. And even if he loses, he can use the excuse, oh, it's 5 days' notice. I didn't train. So he has an excuse.
Exactly.
It's a win-win no matter what for Masvidal.
It is a win-win, yeah. Great
business, man. This was a really good opportunity for him. And my pick, I really don't know. I want Usman to lose really badly. But I just think I don't think he will. I mean, he could get caught in the first or second round. But he took massive punches from Colby. Lots of constant punches. So I mean, Masvidal obviously has more power than Colby, but if he doesn't catch him in the first couple of rounds, I don't think he ever will. So I think Usman should be able to get a fourth round TKO where Jorge's a little tired and not in his full capacity. But it's gonna be a really good fight, really interesting fight. Anything can happen in this fight. I'm really excited for this one.
You think he's gonna catch him by TKO, huh?
Yeah, because I think Jorge's gonna get tired. How Connor's obviously the better fighters than the fighters he lost to, but he gets tired. You're not as good. Your senses are down. You're slower. So I think Jorge will just be slow, tired, and just be easily finished in the fourth round. I don't want it to happen, but I have a hard time seeing it not happening.
Yeah, what did Masvidal say? He said Usman's gonna crotch sniff him the whole time.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
what
not
people
wrong.
expect. Yeah, I mean,
He's a crotch sniffer, that's for sure. But if it
I
gets you
don't
the
know, but
win, gets you the
you
win.
gotta. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you gotta be ready for anything though. Who thought two wrestlers were gonna stand up in his last fight? You know, who knows? Who knows what you're gonna see? Like I said, Masvidal, if he wins, I will go absolutely insane. I would love that. You know, Usman's a great fighter, but I can't stand him. You know, but it's just you just got to go smart here. That's all it is. You know, if you went with your gut for everything you did, that'd be, or your heart, I should say. That it's a little dicey. So you just got to be smart with it. You know, the man's got a full camp. So
I mean, I see Usman winning, but it's like I could see something with Masvidal, kind of like a Bisping and Rockhold situation, where it's like Bisping gets the fight on short notice, and he knows that it might be his only chance at a title. Not saying this is Masvidal's only chance, but if you look at it, if he loses this fight, I know he can use the excuse of the short camp, but it's kind of like he needs to take advantage of every chance he gets. And maybe he comes out just swinging and he catches Usman. I could see that happening, but I'm not going to pick that to happen. But there's a good chance that could happen.
yeah, there's absolutely that possibility. Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, like
that's a really good comparison to
yeah.
the Bisping fight. I agree.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's amazing. One fighter went out and you replace him with this, and that changes the whole dynamic of this fight. It's totally up in the air.
Yeah, he doesn't worry about a submission either now.
Pardon?
He doesn't have to worry about a submission.
Oh yeah, because Gilbert, Masvidal probably won't get anything off his back. Yeah, I feel like the Gilbert Burns fight was definitely more interesting. Like, I mean, they're both really interesting fights, but the Burns fight was kind of like you have a wrestler who can't really use his wrestling because of the fear of the submission. And you have Gilbert Burns, who's a really good striker, and Usman is. So they're both really good fights. But I think just Masvidal's name is way bigger, so it's much more appealing to see this fight.
Also, there was a lot, like, I believe, including myself, Burns shouldn't have got a title shot right out of the gate. I mean, yeah, he dominated Woodley, but, he should have got one more, and then, yeah, absolutely. But,
he just took it for literally a penny.
Oh, yeah, he took it for nothing, and Dana was like, oh, yeah, he's the clear number one contender, so he gave it to him for nothing. I mean, he just doesn't want to dish out the money, but in the end, karma sucks, and you ended up paying the money anyway.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts or big news you guys want to talk about going on in the UFC world or MMA world in general?
There's one thing before we started recording, actually, Pedro Munoz pulled out due to COVID of his card coming up on either Wednesday or Saturday or something like that.
Who was he supposed to fight? Do you know?
Frankie Edgar.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I forget which card it was, though. I don't know if it was on the
It's the one after this one.
The Caterriga.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they scratching that fight, or are they trying to find Frankie a replacement?
I don't know. I'm not.
They're scratching it.
They might scratch, but who knows? I mean, the smart thing would have been to scratch this main event too, but here we are. Yeah. So, but I mean, besides that, that's it.
We just got a week left. Hopefully, none of the fighters test positive, and no one gets injured in the last second. So, hopefully, it was going to be a really good card. If that doesn't happen, so
just bubble wrap the 3 title fights. Just bubble wrap all of them and don't let them go anywhere.
Exactly. No Tony Ferguson tripping over a wire. Can't have that shit happen.
Yeah, really.
All right. Well, if there's no final comments, we're all good.
Yeah,
all good.
All right. I want to thank everyone for watching. It was a good card. It's gonna be a good card. I hope everyone buys it. No piracy, right? Bye. Show support to the UFC. Yeah. Anyways, we're signing off. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, and take care, everyone. Peace out.
You guys.